This is Gene Acasella from Port St. John, Florida, and you're listening to the Really Big Barbecue Central Show.
Happy to have you aboard here for the Really Big Barbecue Show.
Boing. We cook because we have to, and we grill because we want to.
Hit me!
Fine, how's it going?
You have a great show. I'm a big fan.
Boing.
So what seems to be the problem here? This man looks like he's dead, and he's in the crackle. Charbono! It's all about the charbono, dude.
Succulent fish. What?
He ate 2 feet for wiener.
But listen, Lavernius, shut your face.
I'm shaking like a dog shit peach seeds.
We have top men working on it right now. Top men.
And just like that, we are into the second hour. Welcome in. It's the Barbecue Central Show. We talk about live fire things that are the most important items in the industry. We do it from Cleveland, Ohio. It's live in a bunch of different places right now. Facebook and Twitch/BBQ Central Show. Also on YouTube/RD Rempe for video feeds. We also have a live audio feed on my website. And newly announced, we are live on Clubhouse as well. I'm recording, so please be aware that if you come on through Clubhouse that I am recording live, it will go to a podcast later in the week, either tomorrow or Thursday. Well, if you get on now, it'll be on Thursday's podcast. Socially otherwise at BBQ Central Show on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and Snapchat. You got that corrected. Still to come on this show this evening, the ever-popular Embedded Correspondents segment, where not only will we start out by giving you the 100% Assurity picks that everybody's loving and wanting us to do more and more of as we do the monthly segments with the Embedded Correspondents, but September is a very special month to this show because much like in the beginning part of the year when the Barbecue Hall of Fame had their Hall of Fame inductions and name releases, and it was all scattered out over a 3-week period with exclusive announcements done right here on this show, except when they were announcing the actual Hall of Famers, and semi-famous Dave Anderson blew it all. He couldn't keep his fat yapper shut, and he just let it all out right 15 minutes before we went live and announced the Hall of Fame, which everybody knew at that point. But we still muscled through it. Anyway, I digress. Later, after we get through the 100% Assurity picks, the 100, not 100, 100, never mind. We will give our names, so John and Rusty and Doug and myself, we have all generated a list of names independent of each other that we will give out. If for some reason we have a majority rules on a bunch of names, A, what are the chances? B, it will be a really quick and succinct Hall of Fame for the guests portion of the Barbecue Central Show that we've ever had, but I doubt that's going to happen. But usually we'll get 1, maybe 2, sometimes 3 majority, but then we have 2 more that we have to put in. We'll go back through the list. We will make re-arguments for who we think should be in the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame. We're happy to take your suggestions on who you think might be in the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame. The only requirement is, now we're going on 3 years. 2021 is the 3rd year. It started in 2018. The only requirement that a guest needs to have to get in the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame is what? Anyone? Anyone? They have had to have been a guest on the show, of course. If they were a guest on the show, they have the very real opportunity of becoming a Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Famer. Don't forget, you can get an ad-free podcast feed through patreon.com/BBQ Central Show or through the Apple Podcast app. If you subscribe to the Barbecue Central Show on Apple Podcasts, just subscribe for the ad-free portion and away you go. Coming up on the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less this Friday, episode 196, we take you back to October 4th, 2016, where Dr. Barbecue Ray Lampy was my guest during the show back in 2016, and we were answering some questions from social media platforms that we got in for the Ask Dr. Barbecue segment. Specifically, Ray recapped his time participating at something that was then called Grill Stock over in England. I believe that is now defunct and has been for at least a couple years. However, it existed for a good 5 or 6 years prior to that. It was huge. One of the biggest barbecue events out there in the UK, no doubt about it. We also mentioned something by the names of Haywood Jablomi and his sous chef, Bend Over. That's all I can say about that, but there's a lead up. You can see where we're going. Ray also talked about how he was putting cookbooks together at that time. Pretty interesting stuff. Ray, a prolific barbecue cookbook author, and he was actually putting one together as we were having that particular conversation. So look for that this coming Friday. There'll be a link to the full show in the show notes, of course. And don't forget, if you want to hear a guest or a segment on the show in a best moments fashion, just email John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com, and he will do his best to meet your expectation. People in YouTube chat on the show. They do. I can see it. I just saw you, Dan. However, people in Clubhouse can't. They would have to speak. So, how does that... Do people raise their hands? Is that what it is? I forget exactly. Ah, yes, there it is. Raised hand. Okay. Yeah, well, why not? Let's just go with it just for 1 second so I can see if I can do this by myself as everybody else loads in. Invite on stage. All right, I did that. Should be this easy, right? We welcome
Good evening,
Scott
Greg.
to the show. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing good. Yourself?
Great, I think. Do you have a Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame suggestion, Scott?
Actually, I do.
All right, hold on. Give you a little run up here. Who makes it into your 2021 Guest Hall of Fame list?
Mark Gillespie from Whiskey Cast.
How about you? Well, you're a fan, though, aren't you, Scott?
I am.
Yes. Well, believe it or not. So, I don't want to shoot the wad here before we get the other gents on here and start going through the list. But let's just say you may or may not hear Mark Gillespie on this list for this year in 2021, and you may or may not hear his name in 2022. I can't say anything further. I'm not going to incriminate myself, but that's a great... What do you like specifically about Mark?
Honestly, he's been doing this almost as long as you.
I know.
And he's a pro.
I love it. Plus, great whiskey knowledge, great interviews, but he's got a great palate. You know what? Breaking news right here just for you, Scott, because you're a fan.
Barbecue Central Show exclusive news update.
Greg Rampy reporting from the breaking news desk right here in Cleveland, Ohio, the city that breaks the most live fire news whenever it's breaking across the country, nay, the world. I was contacted by somebody at this place called Peg Leg Porker. Kerry Bringle was on the show a couple weeks ago. We were talking about his barbecue place, but also he has released a few different expressions of bourbon through the Peg Leg Porker line. Somebody from there asked if they could send me a sample. I said, how about you send me a sample and you send my pal Mark a sample? I'll have him back on the show, and we would do a live whiskey tasting right here on this show. What do you think?
I think that's great.
Couldn't be better. Now, in my instance, I would be taking a sip, whirling it around the old pie hole, and then doing the Gary Vaynerchuk spitting it out in the bucket because, one of us, Scott, doesn't drink anymore. But I'm happy to do a little wine taste spit and flavor review. I think my palate is still sharp, but there you go. All right, so, Scott, I appreciate you coming in. Now, let me see. What do I do to you now? Do I mute? You mute yourself, right? And then I just move you down to the audience? That's probably how it works. Hey, Scott, thanks for coming on tonight, pal.
You're welcome.
All right.
I'll mute myself now.
Appreciate that. I'm moving him to the other. There he goes. All right. I can do it. Now we can probably have some interaction with the other guys for the embedded correspondence. How about that? Also, before we get into the embedded correspondence here in just a minute, I want to thank Rod in Mentor. Guess who hung out with Rod in Mentor last night? That was me. We met up at one of his favorite Mexican joints in a place called Paynesville, due east of me. We were, well, technically Mentor's due east of me too. We were going to get the beef tongue burrito, but last night they did not have beef tongue. So what did I do? I taught that lady who was working the flat top to make a chori pollo burrito. That's right, I did. Now, in complete transparency, and I'm sure Sam the cooking guy will love this, that lady looked at me like I was a complete idiot. And aside from Rod laughing when I made the suggestion, because I'm sure he knew as soon as they said they were out of beef tongue, he's like, Reppy's going to drop a chori pollo, no doubt. She did attempt it. It was not great. It was not horrible. But you can be damn sure that the chori pollo burrito will now be on La Mexicana menu cantina going forward. There's no doubt about it. Notwithstanding that, it was great to hang with Rod. Great person. Great stories that we were sharing with each other as we were soaking in the few last good hours outside here in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame city. Bomb City, USA, Cleveland, Ohio. So, Rod, thanks for the hospitality, and looking forward to doing it again soon here locally. All right, Clubhousers, you stick around, and I'm recording, just so you know. We're going to come back with the embedded correspondence. Everybody's loaded in. That's good to see. I'll talk to you quickly about Yukon Glory and the grill and serve system. Absolute revolution when it comes to the landscape of grilling baskets. I've hated two things about using grilling baskets in my years of live fire. They're hot as hell, and I burn myself, so I have to use gloves. Also, it gets grease and stuff all over the table when I set it down to eat. What am I to do? Well, enter the grill and serve system from Yukon Glory. Patented design fixes everything. The set includes 3 stainless steel grill baskets, which are moved by a clip-on handle that seamlessly grips the interior of the basket, easy lifting and dropping. Also, the set has a large custom-fitted stainless steel serving tray to catch any drips and allow you for a beautiful table presentation, perhaps in my case, and more importantly, giving you a clean table when everyone's done eating. Thank you, Yukon Glory. Now, what should you cook at them? Glad you asked. Veggies, seafood, wings, tacos, meats of all types. If you can think of it, you can use it on the grill and serve system. As far as where you can buy it, little places like Amazon, Home Depot, Lowe's, Target. I recommend going to Yukon Glory. Why? Because if you use coupon code 10CENTRAL, 10CENTRAL, at checkout, you can get a 10% discount on everything that you order each and every time. Order stuff for you. Next time, order stuff for Christmas or Hanukkah or whatever it is you celebrate. You get 10% off each and every time. YukonGlory.com with promo code 10CENTRAL. Follow them on the Instagrams and the Facebooks at Yukon Glory. We are back with the embedded correspondence right after this. Stick around.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The BBQ Central Show. Howard Stern, Jim Rome, Dan Patrick, and Greg Rempe. The Mountain Rushmore of talk show entertainment. Now, let's get back to the BBQ Central Show.
And welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Pit Barrel Cooker, the most unbelievable outdoor cooking device on the planet. Currently available in 3 sizes. A junior, the flagship size, and of course the PBX, which just came out a little earlier this year. Whether you're a beginner or professional, definitely a cooker you want to add to the arsenal. Visit pitbarrelcooker.com and tell them the BBQ Central Show sent you. Austin Parsons weighing in on the Carrie Bringle situation. I sent the wrong one, of course, which says, work out bourbon samples for all the Centralites and you'd be a real hero, Greg. No doubt about it. I don't think that's happening. It's probably going to be a effort enough to get myself one and then Mark Gillespie one. But I think that would be pretty neat for me to have the whiskey expert on this show evaluating whiskey or bourbon, for instance. So that would be very exciting. We'll see how that happens. Hey, it's the second hour, and it's the fourth Tuesday of the month. And you know what that means, everybody? It's the Embedded Correspondents. And here they are, and no Doug. Why? Why is this? Hold on. I'm going to figure this out right now. Doug, stand pat. Don't worry. Don't worry.
I can see myself.
I know. I can see you, but I can't see you. You can see yourself?
Yeah.
Not in the quad, you can't see yourself.
No, not in the quad, but yeah, in the
then?
video.
Right, let's go to setup. Let's go to box 4. Your guest what? No, Christ.
Put the picture of the guy asleep. That'd be fine.
Box 4. And your guest 1, right? Yeah. Oh, hey, there we go. We did it.
Bingo.
It only takes a little bit of patience and effort, and away we go. All right, guys. So this is a big month for us. Every year we talk about and then induct a whatever year it is, Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame class. 2018, we rolled it out. We did it again the year after that. We did it again last year. We're going to do it again this year. 5 people will be getting into the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame. It's very exciting. I'm sure everybody was diligently and feverishly working through their list of 5 to choose from and argue for. And we will get into that here in a second. But let's go ahead and lead off with a few 100% Assurity picks, which everybody's loving, by the way. Also, for anybody listening through instant chat, or we can try and work in some of this Clubhouse stuff. I know I'm trying to crowbar some of this in, but I'm just trying to see if I can work it or not. Please feel free to raise your hand, and you can give us the Assurity pick that you think. Let's start here. And this is, so I'm doing the Assurity pick on this topic first, and then we will reserve this for next month. We'll actually be able to dig into it much, much further. Rusty and Doug, John will probably be able to talk on this a lot more expertly than I will. I can talk on it just from a marketing level and from a what I think level, but nevertheless, long way to go to get to here. 100% yes or 100% no. The KCBS new steak competition will be a 100% success. Or a 100... Wait, let me do it like this. Sorry. Let me try again. 100% Assurity pick. The new KCBS steak competition will be a 100% success. Rusty, 100% yes or 100% no to that?
First of all, I'm in a different spot on the quad. I feel like I have raised a rank like over maybe Doug, and I want to apologize to Doug for, being the cooler embedded correspondent.
It's all good.
This wasn't discussed. It just happened.
It did just happen. We saw it just happen, literally, but that's all right.
And I'd like to thank you, Greg, for the promotion. So I would say no, as much as that hurts my guts, because I really want it to do well. I just think the barbecue is full of hipsters, but not to take away from SCA, because what Brett is doing is very special. He's out there all the time, face to face, remembers who I am, what I'm doing. Really, really cool. And they deserve their every single bit of success, and everyone's just kind of in that mode. And I think that's what's going to do it. And people are just not going to give that give it its due. And because there's a lot of different barbecue, competition, bodies. And I think that, I think it's just not going to take hold as much as I would love it to happen.
You think more people are just dumping on it to dump on it? Is this what we've talked about before, 100%. Where people are just hating on it to hate on it?
Absolutely, just to hate on it. That's all it is. It's a really cool concept. It's really, really awesome. And it's sad that it's going to fall by the wayside because people in barbecue are savages.
So 100% yes or 100% no?
100% no.
All right. Rusty weighing in. We go to the longest running embedded correspondent in Texas, Doug Scheiding. 100% yes or 100% no. The KCBS state competition will be a success.
100% yes. There are too many KCBS companies out there.
Wow. Really?
Damn straight.
All right. I don't want to dig into the minutia here, but is it a terrible follow-up question for me to ask?
Oh.
In your, yeah, you know what? It is 100% a bad follow-up question. I'm not going to do that.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. I'm for the non-grill mark, so I'm all for the KCBS steak.
We'll dig into the minutia next month.
Sear Revolution, Rusty.
That's right. John, 100% yes or 100% no. The new KCBS steak competition will be a success.
Unfortunately, 100% no.
No?
Very unfortunate.
We'll dig into that next month, of course. For me, 100% yes or 100% no. No. And I'm not going to say unfortunately. I'm just giving you a straight no, and then we will dig into it next month. Also, I mean, we're just going off of where we're at present day, and certainly I would like to see some of these things get going and get feedback and all this other stuff. Rusty, have they had one yet that you're aware of?
They've had testers, but they haven't had a full-on competition yet.
All right, so I'd like to see, how many people are participating. I get it from a high level. And, all right, I'm going to digress here because I don't want to get into the stuff that we'll talk about next month. All right, let's try another one in the 100% Assurity picks. 100% yes or 100% no. KCBS will allow gas grills in their barbecue competition. Rusty.
I think they stick with no, and that's 100% no. I think they're going to stick with their original. I think they should, too. I think it's fine. It's okay. I'm okay with it.
Doug, 100% yes or 100% no. KCBS will allow gas grills at their barbecue competitions.
Yes, and I think they should.
All right. We go to John, 100% yes or 100% no. KCBS will allow gas grills in their barbecue competitions.
100% yes. I'm going with yes.
Wow.
Hey, a drowning person will grab the tip of a sword to save themselves.
Haha, I've heard that before. 100% yes or 100% no. To me, KCBS will allow gas grills in their barbecue competitions. 100% fucking no. Never. They will never do that. You are literally asking the KCBS to go against their prime directive. It is in their vision. It is in their mission statement. If they allowed gas grills, I'm not talking about the steak competition. That's a whole different situation. Barbecue competition. There is no way ever, unless literally the world will end the next minute that they change this, that they will allow gas cookers into their barbecue competitions. It will fly in the face of everything. Doug, what are you talking about here? You think I'm
cash money talks?
No.
They're going to have to reinvigorate the number of people in barbecue competitions, and that's one way to do it.
I don't see it happening. Again, I go back to what is printed in the visions and the missions and what they're always talking about, and it does not include barbecue cookers. Do I care? No. Do I think any cooker should be allowed to be used in any barbecue competition? Sure. For the exact same reason that Doug said. It would allow people to get out of any type of perceived barrier to entry. You can bring whatever you have, and more people can come in, more revenue generation, obviously, for whoever's putting that competition on. Makes total sense. I just don't think it's ever going to happen. All right, one more, and then we will start digging into the Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame stuff. 100% yes or 100% no. You have, and if not, will you try it? Smoked cream cheese, Rusty.
I would absolutely try. Hell yeah, it'd be super delicious.
But you haven't tried it.
Yes. I haven't, but it sounds awesome.
Will that make it on the Rusty Monson food trailer thing?
Oh, hell, maybe. Actually, you never know. You never know. If I love it and it goes in something well and it improves one of my dishes, I would absolutely do it.
100% yes or 100% no. Have you tried smoked cream cheese, Doug?
Yes, I have. And I've done it a second time, actually. And it was even better the second time.
Hold on a second here. Look who's dropping in here this evening, all the way from Kent State University. It's Maddie Rempe right there. Cream cheese is gross, she said. Look at that. She's watching from college. That warms the very subcockle region of my heart to know that my daughter is actually watching her day. She must miss me for something. So, what can I tell you? Now, look at this. Also coming in from Kent, 100% yes from Sophie Farito. So she's down with smoked cream cheese. I see people weighing in all over the place here. Nice to know we're getting a little run over in Kent State here this evening here, guys. So that's at least 2 more new listeners than we would usually have. John, 100% yes or 100% no. Have you tried smoked cream cheese?
100% no. And that's all I got to say about that.
For me, 100% yes or 100% no. Have I tried smoked cream cheese? No. And again, as I had mentioned to Brian in the... no, I won't.
Will you?
No, I won't. You know why? Because as I had mentioned to Brian in the first hour when he was helping me through the Biebenroth Wi-Fi issues, I just won't ever think about it. I cannot sit here and fathom a time talking to you guys where I could sit here and say, I know I can commit to trying this and evaluating it. As soon as the show ends, the only next time I will think about it is when I'm listening back to this portion on Thursday in the podcast so I can hear how we're all talking. And then by the time I get to work, I will never think about it again. And I'll cook through the weekend and all that other stuff. And it will just never be on my radar. And maybe it should be, but it just will never be on my radar. If you want to jump in, folks, on the, what is that thing called, John? Clubhouse. Raise your hands. Also, Maddie and Megan, Sophie, I'm sure you kids are all adept at this Clubhouse thing. Just jump in and away you go. Oh, here we go. Let's see. 100% yes. Brian, you were 100% yes on the cream cheese, right?
I'm a 100% yes, and I definitely think you need to try it at least once.
All right. I will try. Is that really going to happen? Again, I don't know if I'm going to think about it. All right, I'll keep an eye out for you guys. Now, let's get down to the task at hand here. We're looking at just over 5.5 minutes here to get going before we roll over into the next segment and then before we get through the break. Oh, where's my list? Hold on. I have it right here. No, I don't. Recent. There we go. Okay. Now we've come to the point of the show where we will start talking about and making recommendations for the 2021 Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame. Some you may be surprised. Some you may not recognize. Some you'll be like, oh, he was the best. I totally forgot about him or her. And here we go. Starting out in no particular order, the longest running embedded correspondent from Texas, Doug Scheiding. Doug, give me your list.
Okay. Have we ever inducted a posthumously person into the Hall of Fame, into the Barbecue Central Hall of Fame?
For those that aren't familiar, Doug's asking if we've ever inducted a dead person into the Barbecue Hall of Fame. It's posthumously too, by the way, but I mean, I'm not going to.
I know. Thank you. I always get it wrong. Thank you. Yeah. Thank you.
Well, let's see. Is there a dead person?
I don't think so.
The best shot would be 2018, which was the inaugural class. And I don't think, John, are you scanning through that at the moment?
I'm about to, but
let me run through there too.
Before I don't want to speak out of school.
I am, and there is none.
All right.
That's
Scott,
what I thought.
Sam, Dave, Diva, Tuffy, Ronnie, Myron. All still alive. All those people are still alive. That I don't know if that person's still alive, but I'll assume they're still alive. Okay,
when they got inducted.
Yeah, everybody's alive right now. From all 3 years.
My first pick.
Yes,
you interviewed in 2005. Fred Perkel.
Fred's in.
Fred's in.
Inaugural class, I think, right?
Oh, well, then that's why I asked.
Wait. Okay, hold on. I'll just wait a damn minute. Let me
No Fred Perkle.
No Fred Perkle. What? Shotgun Fred, right there. 2 under Adam Perry Lang, who's since been suspended. Yes, we have done.
Okay.
We have done.
So we
now,
have.
I don't remember.
That's what I thought.
I don't remember what year he passed away, but I believe it had to have been
2012.
longer. 2012. Okay. So, yes, we have done posthumously Shotgun Fred, and he's the only one. Shotgun Fred is Fred Perkle, so just in case you didn't know the nickname. So,
all right.
There you go.
A corollary to that is Bob Trudneck. I nominate Bob Trudneck.
All right. Next.
Okay. The next, Tim McKeska.
Tim McKeska. All right. Next.
Just on this year. Robert Moss of Southern Living.
All right. Robert Moss. Good list so far. Keep going.
Okay. I am I'm going to go with Joe Davidson. Joe Don Davidson.
Oklahoma Joe.
Oklahoma Joe.
All right. Rounding out your 5.
And then, well, that's 4, right?
Yes.
Perkle 1, 2, 3, 4. And so I'm not going to go Chomp Chomp. I'm not going to go Famous Dave. I am going to go. And the only rule I heard you say was he's been interviewed on the show.
That's the only rule. You have to have been a guest on the show at some point. It's not just this year. It's any point.
Exactly. So there's a corollary rule you're not thinking of, and I'm going to say F that rule. I nominate John Solberg.
All right. John Solberg gets entered in. All right. So Bob Trudneck, Tim McKeska, Robert Moss, Joe Davidson, Oklahoma Joe, and John Solberg have been nominated by Doug Scheiding. Now, we will go to John Solberg and get his 5 to nominate. So in no particular order, go ahead, John.
Thank you, Doug. And yes, I have actually been interviewed on the show prior to my relationship with the show.
100%.
Exactly.
In no particular order, my list starts off with Tim McKeska.
All right. Tim McKeska.
My second on my list, in no particular order, is Joe Davidson.
Joe Davidson. Ooh. All right.
Coming on down the line, I'm going to go with Bill Oakley.
Ah, yes. New to the show this year. He is the Instagram food reviewer extraordinaire who was also a head writer and showrunner for The Simpsons for like 5 or 6 years or whatever it was. So he's been a great guest. New addition this year.
Another new addition for this year, which was a one-time guest until today by happenstance. I'm going with Ben Biebenroth.
All right. Wow. Coming on strong. Cleveland guy that we like. All right. And then rounding out the 5.
I'm coming with my number 1 most popular guest in my mind.
Oh.
Connie Rempe.
Connie Rempe. All right. Connie Rempe. Doug, you were voting for one or both of my parents last year, weren't you? Or was that you again, John?
No, I did last year or the year before.
All
yes. Right. Oh, it's time.
Look at that. Took us right to break. That's great. So, you guys hang out just for a second, and I'll talk quickly about Pits and Spits. We love them since 1983. Handcrafting smokers and grills in Houston, Texas, and in that time, establishing itself as one of the premier brands in high-quality offset smokers and more recently pellet cookers. Pits and Spits setting itself apart by using heavy 7 and 10 gauge steel in every cooker, a fully welded construction that you can feel when you use the unit, 304 stainless roll top lid, front shelf on every single smoker. So why does it matter? Well, by using high quality materials, Pits and Spits smokers reach and maintain temperatures, allowing you to worry more about the meat than the heat. By providing a fully welded smoker, you don't have to worry about grease or smoke leaking out of the barrel or that grill rattling apart as you move it through the backyard. And by using 304 stainless, you're getting an heirloom quality product that you can pass down to your kids. Now, where some companies focus on being the low-cost provider, Pits and Spits focuses on craftsmanship, quality materials. Are there cheaper ways to make these? Hell yes. But they don't like tack welds and cheap stainless or electronics that you can't trust. Having in-house manufacturing gives them complete control of the design and standards, not something that you find with stuff brought in from overseas. Their steel suppliers supply material to be used in some of the harshest environments around, so they'll perform in any and all conditions. And the controller's made right here in the States, and they have unimpeded transparency into the program. Pits and Spits sold through a dealer network across the country, but if there isn't one close to you, call Coy in the shop at 844-650-6250. Whether you're a backyard grill master looking to cook steaks for the family or a competition team cooking 50 racks of ribs, Pits and Spits is a product for you. You can check them out online, pitsandspits.com, all spelled out, or see their pits in the wild across social media at their handle at Pits and Spits, also all spelled out. We're back to get Rusty's nominations, and then mine, and then we'll see if we have any consensus, and then we'll start arguing, and it will be fun and frivolity abound. Stick around, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the #1 most downloaded barbecue and grilling podcast anywhere. The Barbecue Central Show. Celebrating over 10 years of prolific and unparalleled live fire barbecue and grilling talk. And yes, it's still being done from Cleveland, Ohio. You're listening to the Barbecue Central Show.
Hey, this portion being brought to you by Smithfield.com. Throughout the rest of this grilling season, because there's technically no season, it's all year round, you can get tips and tricks from world champ pitmasters like Chris Lilly, Darren Worth, Ernest Cervantes, Giles Cridland. With mouthwatering flavor, no artificial ingredients, Smithfield Fresh Pork, quite simply, some of the finest pork money can buy, the trusted choice of world champion pitmasters for use in competitions and at home. And if you're a committed cook, go to smokinwithsmithfield.com. and enter in your first place pork and rib finishes. Otherwise, for all of the recipes and so forth, smithfield.com. All right, guys, we are back at it. Rusty is going to give us his name. By the way, on a couple names, we're on the cusp of a quorum already that will get us at least one, potentially two Hall of Famers right off the rip here. So, Rusty, have at it in no particular order.
This was not planned, by the way. It's not discussed between Doug and I.
All right.
But John Solberg was my number one.
John Solberg is number one. Right.
In particular order.
John getting votes tonight. Good for him. All right. Next one.
I'm also throwing Robert Moss on there. That was also on my list. I'm a huge fan.
Yes.
One of my favorite guests, both times that I've heard him on the show, is Andy Husbands. Darren Cosmo. I don't know how to say his last name.
Khosravi.
But that too. But Cosmos. And then I'm going to go with Matt Frampton. Urban Slicer.
Matt Frampton. All right. Rusty's John Solberg, Robert Moss, Andy Husbands, who was like my original, what do you call those shows? Crap. The reality TV shows. He was on Hell's Kitchen in the first season. I fell in love with him on TV there, and actually had him on the show the very first time while he was still on the show. And he almost gave up a spoiler alert. We almost got him in trouble, but he caught himself and didn't. So that's a good list there. All right, and now my list. Here we go in no particular order. Tim McKeska. So I believe that makes a majority on Tim, right? So we will highlight him. Doug said Tim, and John said Tim. I said Tim. So we make a side list here of people that are going in. That's Tim McKeska. Number 2 for me, and I triple checked, believe she's not in there. The pitmaster of Yazoo's Delta Q, owner of Memphis Barbecue Company, Melissa Cookston, has given a number of great interviews over the years, off the last couple years, but she would especially come in during Memphis in May time, usually the week before, to snag show karma. She somehow believed that being on the show would cause her to win world championships, which of course it did. Number 3 on the list. Surprised nobody has thrown this name out here over the last 3 years. Remember cookbook author Jamie Purviance. He's not in any class yet, and he's just a peach. Number 4 for me. Was it 2 years ago? The creator, he was my passion project for the whole year. Once a quarter interviews. We followed him from sauce concept to launch to, I think, what ended up being failure. The creator of Big Hoss One Sauce, Dion Blumenrade. I mean, what a great 4 interviews through that year of whatever the hell it was to learn about what it takes to bring a sauce to market and really get real-time experience once a quarter and his successors and failures and costs. I mean, he really blew it open for us. And then rounding it out, I can't believe nobody talked about this guy. Anybody ever heard of the longest-running embedded correspondent from Texas, Doug Scheiden, who has been on the show as a interviewee when he won the world championship, for crying out loud. Remember that, everybody? So we have a number of names to talk about here. And I think for the first time in many years, I'm going to be easily swayed on a nom. There's some really good ones. Anybody in Clubhouse, if you want to jump in on some of the names that we mentioned, you can weigh in. It will not affect our thoughts, of course, but we're happy to bring you up and get your take. So Tim McKeska is in. He's number 1. We have 4 other ones to talk about. So I will now go back around the room. We'll start with Rusty. If you want to remake an argument for anybody in particular, and we will decide that person is good enough to go in, or you'll have to strike them out, and we will continue to go around each individual list until we have a class. Rusty, have at it.
I'm going to say, John, I think has to go in, and I like Doug. I'm going to go with you with that one. I want to put Doug on my list, obviously. I just didn't want to, be too crazy and go, let's just put all of the oldies season. So that, Doug, I apologize, but I'm adding you now. So
are you taking somebody off? Because typically what we do now is argue somebody that's on your list. You're taking somebody off.
Matt Frampton's no longer on it.
All right,
Matt Frampton's no longer on it. Doug Scheiding is on my list.
Doug is on.
Cosmo needs to go on just because he's so much fun to listen to.
All right.
Andy Husband's like same thing. I don't know, just love listening to his interviews and the way that dude talks, and he's just cool to listen to. I love anytime he's on there. And Robert Moss, of course, barbecue, man. Like the history of barbecue, just think about for a half a second what it took to write that book, and what he does for barbecue in general, and having him on the show is super, super cool to see too. And, that's my list. That's my argument. Yeah.
You got it. Now, I'm sure, Russ, you're very excited. So you're just not listening actively, which excited. I'm certainly,
absolutely not.
Certainly
not at all.
You just need to pick one name off of your continued list to make the case for. So pick one name, argue for them, and then we will decide as a group if that person's going to be going in, yes or no.
I remember now.
Okay.
John Solberg is mine. Number 1 with a bullet with the
all right,
stuff that he does for you.
John Solberg. All right. Could get in. Doug Scheiding. John in, yes or no? By the way, I just want to say, because this is the first year that some of us have also been nominated, we're all big boys here. Nobody's getting any feelings hurt or anything like that, so I don't want to hear about it after the fact. John, is John getting in, yes or no?
He was on my original list, so I still say yes. The unwritten rule was that no embedded correspondence before, which is why I clarified the rules before nominating.
All right. Good news. That means, does John in that? That was you? That was Rusty? No, John didn't vote for himself.
Rusty and I both.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was John didn't vote for himself, and Greg did not vote for him in his original list.
Okay. Well, only by tenure did I put Doug, and I 100% agree John is going into the Guest Hall of Fame tonight. So we have Tim McKeska and we have John Solberg here. It's great to have a Hall of Famer amongst us here, which is great. And now we will go over to Doug. Pick a name and argue for it.
Bob Trudnak.
Oh, boy.
I cannot believe. Guess how many times Bob Trudnak has been on the show?
Wow us with the statistics.
16.
What?
What? Yes. Longest running sponsor of the show.
16 times?
2 best ofs. 16 times. I looked it up today. Holy crap.
Wow.
I can't believe anybody, even in the rest of the Hall of Fame that we've nominated over the tens and 2 decades that we've nominated people, have been in longer than Bob, have been on the show more than Bob Trudnick. And longest running sponsor of the show, continues. He is a quality guest. Every time he comes on the show, it's interesting to listen to, and I'm always excited to hear him. 2 best ofs.
Wow. Doug is 100% a salesman and building value. We go to the board of decision makers. John, yes or no on Bob Trudnick?
Yes.
Whoa!
I'm hard sold.
All right. So that's 1 for Bob, and John is now saying Bob. So that's 2, and we go over to Rusty. You know what? I'm going to go out on a limb. Rusty, I don't think you've ever heard of Bob Trudnick, correct?
BBQ Guru, jackhole.
Oh,
Thank you.
All right. Sorry. Rusty, are you hard sold on Doug's pitch?
Yeah, 100%. That's great. I mean, I didn't know he was on it that much. And both of the points that he made are extremely persuasive. And then I'm a hard yes.
Right. Bob Trudnick is in. Tim McKeska, John Solberg. Bob Trudnick is in. And now we will go over to John Solberg. Pick a name, and we will see if you can argue well. And Doug has set a high bar this evening. Congratulations on Doug. That was strong.
He has, and I'm a little bit off my game because of what just happened here. But we'll get into that later. Hard sell. I'm going to die on this hill. Oklahoma Joe Davidson.
Mm-hmm.
Only one time on the show. Icon in the industry, which we know is not part of this equation. But when he came on that show and he started talking, I've heard this name forever. I don't know what this guy is. He's got the gas station barbecue. It's Oklahoma Joe. It's like, but when he walked in and sat down, he was the coolest, calmest, most comprehensive, engaging, well-spoken, professional guest that could have ever been on the show ever. And I was like, I didn't want that interview to end. I just want to keep going. I can't wait till he comes back. I hope he comes back. That guy is a rock star in the industry, and he's a rock star as a guest on this show. So I hope that you guys could take that into consideration.
All right. John, bringing a solid pitch himself. We go to Rusty for first yes or no as we revisit the board for Hall of Fame guests. Yes or no, Rusty?
I never heard the interview, and I don't know if I could say yes just based off. I can't say yes.
Right? No from Rusty. We go to Doug Scheiding. Yes or no on Oklahoma Joe?
Absolutely. He was on my original list, so I'm still saying yes to Oklahoma Joe. He sold over 1 million grills. He was very captivating, going to the Oklahoma State Fair and selling grills there. And it was a great interview. I was expecting a, kind of a snooze interview, and it was totally blew me away. So he's on my original list. I'm still saying yes.
All right. That brings it to me, I guess. Damn it. I did think about him. But I also came up with 5 others on a list. I came up with a whole bunch of other. He is on my secondary list here. Go ahead, Rusty.
Is he the Slaughterhouse 5 guy?
He was part of Slaughterhouse 5, yes. Him, Jeff Staney, and yeah.
Staney.
Right. Okay. Way cool.
Yeah.
Okay, that might change my vote because I love that. I love that team. That's awesome.
In the end, I believe that John has made completely valid points. I was captivated. I was completely enthralled. There was at least 45 minutes more of an interview that I would have liked to done with him and pulled more stuff out of him just because I know he would have shared it. So I agree. I'm with you, John. It's Oklahoma Joe. Tim McKeska, John Solberg, Bob Trudnak, Oklahoma Joe, and we got one left that I got to make. I got to make a case for. I'm pushing all of my chips in on Doug. World champion, accessible, willing to give his opinion, has been on the show outside of the embedded correspondence to be just a regular interviewer outside of when he won the world championship. Also a man of business within the industry, also a top-line cook, obviously outside of the competition scene. Has given more tidbits, insider scoops that nobody knows about, that I just casually reference as a quality source than anybody can. Way more times than Bob Trudnak has been on this show. That's how many tidbits I've gotten from Doug. I can't think of anybody more qualified than Doug to join John Solberg and the rest of the crew here in 2021. But that's my pitch, so we'll go. Doug, I'm going to leave you for last, of course. John, yes or no on Doug?
100% yes. I just want to throw in here, Doug was always there back in the day before there was ECs. He was even feeding you information, sending you news clippings. He's had a lot more to do behind the scenes, and he's always been a great guest.
100%.
And yeah, I'm 100% behind that.
That means Rusty is kind of bringing the hammer, but if not, Doug votes for his own fate here, which is going to be weirdly uncomfortable. Rusty, yes or no on Doug?
Newspaper clippings? What? Do you do that while you watch your programs, Doug? I'm confused.
His soaps, eating bricks of cream cheese and saltine.
I take pictures of him and email them to him. But anyway.
Obviously, one of my favorite guests on our show. Super fun to talk to. Lover of all things deer and not a better steak cook than me. I say absolutely yes.
All right. We've done it. I can't believe it. For now, the fourth year, we have concocted a list that we have all agreed on. There's no tumultuousness. I don't know if that's a word or not, but I'm going to go with it. And here's your 2021 class, by the way. Tim McKeska is one on the list. No particular order, of course. Number 2, our very own Michigan embedded correspondent and executive producer of the Best Moments of Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or left, John Solberg. Longest running sponsor of the show, and as Dan pointed out, sounds like a conflict. He gives Greg cash. It's not a conflict. That's a pleasure. Bob Trudnak from the BBQ Guru.
16 times.
16 times, that's right. Next, somebody by the name of Barbecue Hall of Famer, Oklahoma Joe, who is now a Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famer, and rounding out the 5, none other than our very own longest-running embedded correspondent who happens to hail from Texas, Doug Scheiding. There we go. Guys, we've done it, and I have time to do my last read, and we are getting really good at this. All right, before we go, it's promo time. Rusty, anything you'd like to say before we release you this evening?
I will be at the Jack. I will be doing lots of social media stuff.
That's this weekend?
With Cristiano. Yeah, it's going to be, we're leaving Tuesday, and then we'll come back the following Tuesday. And then the Pitmasters podcast will have a show out this Thursday, and take a listen. That's all I got for you.
Doug, promo on the way out?
October 21st, I'm teaching a virtual brisket and steak in Hasselback for Traeger Grills. And October 26th, I will be on Instagram live with Traeger Grills with Ian Rapoport of NFL Insider.
And of course, that is Ian Rapoport. That's over 2. I mean, come on, Doug.
Yeah.
Let's
Rapoport.
clean it up there,
All right. Yeah. All right. Thank you.
Yes. And John, anything you're promoting on the way out?
Just make sure you subscribe to the Barbecue Central Show podcast feed so you can hear the best moments of the Barbecue Central Show in 10 minutes or less each and every Friday. That's the only way you can get it. Check that out. Drop me an email. Tell me what you think. John, Jon, at thebbqcentralshow.com.
There they are, the embedded correspondents, and now two of them are Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famers. Guys, we'll see you next month. Excellent job, as always, which I certainly appreciate. How about that? Now I have two Barbecue Central Show guest Hall of Famers that are on my embedded correspondence panel. I love that. Congratulations to John and Doug. Two of the 5 well-deserving Hall of Famers that make it in this year. I'll talk to you quickly about Green Mountain Grills. 2 choices, right? The choice line of grills, the prime line of grills. If you want to save a couple bucks, you don't need the Wi-Fi, the tech, all that stuff. No problem. Maddie, jump on Clubhouse and call in that way. I have no other way to get a call. Right? Oh, wait, maybe I do. Let me fire up the hotline. I was going to use Clubhouse. Don't you have Clubhouse, you kids? Anyway, I'm getting off topic. If you want to call in, 216-220-0966, and I'll answer the call. Otherwise, Clubhouse it, for crying out loud. Anyway, the Prime line, a couple hundred extra more bucks. Get the peek-in window lights. You get the peek-in windows, of course. And away you go. Oh, hold on. There is a call coming in. Just hang out while I get through the read here, and we'll come back to you here before we run out of the show. Prime line, you have the peak, the ledge. The Trek is the one you take with you. It plugs into your car, 12-volt receptacle. You can do it on car batteries. Doesn't matter. You get all the tech, 2 internal meat probes. Choice line, not as many features and benefits, but still a solid cooker. Both of the lines accommodate the pizza oven insert, which you have to get, especially if you're trying to replicate a Booms Pizza style pizza. Everybody's trying to do that now, especially here in Cleveland. They're sold through dealers only, greenmountaingrills.com. That's greenmountaingrills.com. And we'll be back to wrap the show right after this. Stick around. We'll be right back.
Whole packers, full racks, legs and thighs, injecting butts. If you've never heard this before, you might think you found the best XXX show ever. Let's get back to the most homoerotic host out there today, Craig Rimpey.
All right, welcome back. This portion of the show being brought to you by Vortic Watch, a small batch custom watch manufacturing and vintage restoration company located in northern Colorado. They take antique American pocket watches, turn them into wristwatches. Their mission, preserve and enhance the legacy of American excellence. In order to do that, they combine traditional and cutting-edge technology to create unique quality functional timepieces with exceptional value. And here's the coolest part. Each watch that they make is unique and one of a kind. Vortic, founded on the motto that America wasn't assembled, it was built. All right, before we head out this evening, we race to the hotline and welcome in area code 330. Name and where you're calling from.
I'm calling from Clark Hall at Kent State University.
Woo! Who's this?
Oh, it's a special guest.
Reception desk? Come on, man. Are you calling from the reception desk?
I am. I actually hacked into it tonight.
Interesting. All right, what are you calling about?
Well, we were actually kind of intrigued about this smoked cream cheese, but originally we were going to prank call you. We decided against that.
That's good, because that would not go well for you.
Why?
Don't you have a Clubhouse, Maddie?
No.
Why?
I don't even know what that is.
You don't?
No.
It's only the most popular, I don't even know how to explain it, but there's a lot of groups in there, and people talk, and you learn a lot of stuff, and the sound quality is 100% better than the phone.
Yik yak.
Yeah, yik
We don't talk to strangers on Clubhouse.
Yeah.
We learned not to.
All right, well, that's a good idea. What else is going on in Kent this evening, ladies?
Homework. A lot of it.
Great. All right, well, go finish your homework and then go directly to bed.
All right. I think you should induct yourself into the Hall of Fame.
I get into no Halls of Fame ever. That's all right. I'm not in it for Halls of Fame. I'm in it for the cash, right?
But they have you hosting all these events. Why not put you in it?
I'm the host, baby. That's it. That's all that counts. I'm the host, and they pay me cash. I want cash money. I don't want awards. I want cash.
How long have you been doing this show?
13 years live, 2 years podcast before that.
Whoop. Okay, so 15 years and they still won't put you in. I think you know enough.
All right. Well, I appreciate your support, Maddie. You're my favorite.
I knew it.
All right. Well, have a good night. Thank you for calling in.
Bye, Greg. All right.
There
Bye.
she is. And
Love
thank you,
Bye,
Maddie's friends, too. Whoever's back there. I got a show to wrap up here. Anybody want to jump in through Clubhouse real quick before I run? In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Oh, wait. Did that change? Yes. Somebody did. Go ahead, Scott.
I'll just say quick congratulations to John and Doug.
Yes. How about that? Well deserved. Well deserved. Brian is coming on. We'll bring him up. Brian, what would you like to say?
Say big congratulations to Doug and John. We'll celebrate with some smoked cream cheese.
That's right. All right, smartass. Away they go, and we are going to head out here on the show. I say fairly successful.
This is Sylvie
Oh,
Curry
all
from
right.
Ramona,
Sylvie's
California.
on.
I'm listening to the BBQ Central Show.
Thank you for dropping in, Sylvie. Appreciate that. So a successful Clubhouse test. I'm not sure exactly how we want to incorporate that going forward. We'll figure it out, I can tell you that. Sound quality good. Appreciate Scott and Brian jumping in all the way back in the first hour. We started off with Ben Biebenroth, some Wi-Fi issues, but we worked through those. We talked about Boom's Pizza. If I wasn't going to be out of town this coming Friday, I would be getting Boom's Pizza, no doubt about that. And then we had a regular visit with Derek Riches. We talked a lot about internet business and dealing with Google and Amazon and the pitfalls in doing so. Basically saying that if you're not in it for the long haul, don't get in it for the short haul. And then in the second hour, we had the Embedded Correspondent segment. We did the 100% Assurity picks on the KCBS steak competition, and if KCBS will allow gas grills at their barbecue competitions, and also smoked cream cheese. And then we got to the business at hand, putting in a 2021 Barbecue Central Show Guest Hall of Fame class. Tim McKeska is in. John Solberg, Michigan Embedded Correspondent of this show, is in. Bob Trudnak from the BBQ Guru and also longest running sponsor of the show is in. Oklahoma Joe Davidson is in. And rounding it out, none other than the longest running embedded correspondent, Doug Scheiding. Congratulations to everybody in. This will now start the 5-week run of getting those people in to talk about how this momentous occasion has changed their life. I can only imagine. Big show playing for you next week. We have Sam the Cooking Guy will be back in, and Malcolm Reed, maybe also a Mark Williams sighting. He might have been on my list as well, but that'll be next year. How do I always leave you? September 11th, 2001. I will never forget. Until next Tuesday at 9 p.m. Eastern. This is your program host and proud U.S. American, Greg Rempe. Good night now!
This is Doug Scheiding of Rogue Cookers, Texas Embedded Correspondent. You're listening to the BBQ Central Show.